I'm Alke. I play rugby for the Hurricanes. I also referee for the UAE and I love rugby.
I love rugby.
My name is Munib Khalan, Warriors. I love rugby.
My name is Fernando. I play for Desk and Excels and I love rugby.
Hi, my name is Erica Batch and I play for the Dubai Hurricanes and Desk.
I'm Kamala and I play for DC and Hurricanes.
We don't just like rugby, we love it!
We love it! And we love you, Ron.
Hi, I'm Elle. I play for Desk and Canes and I love rugby and I love you too, Ron.
Hey, I'm Zara. I play for Canes and I love you, Ron.
I'm Adrian Kitsia. I play for Desk and Exiles. I don't just love rugby, I love Ron.
Every step we take is tic-tac-toe. Ho!
That's it. Where will we be going this week? So, you know what's happening this week. What's the big derby this week? Who's fighting who this week?
I think one of the big ones is Jess and DC.
Correct, and that's where we'll be on Friday.
The under 16s.
All the age groups are playing on
yeah.
Friday at Jess, Friday afternoon. And again, if we can make a recommendation to youth rugby and those involved in organising it, we think this is a great formula. If you bring all the age groups at school level to play the same day, it brings out all the crowds. You know, the younger age groups, the kids and the parents all want to stay to watch the big boys play the under 19s. And so it just adds to a fantastic vibe at these matches. I'm looking forward to Friday. I think it's going to be a great day out at Jess to watch all the age groups. Our feature match, will be the under 16s. The defending champions, Jess, quality under 16 team.
We'll be there taking notes.
You'll be there taking notes. You're doing match reports on that one, I'm sure. I mean, there's quite a number of your colleagues, friends from the Hurricanes playing in that match, as well as from DC. So I'm sure you'll go watch that with some interest. Then we'll be covering the HSBC this coming weekend at the Sevens. You know, if we will be looking for as many matches as we can to highlight top performances and put our youth players' names out there so people know who the talent in the country is. What we've been able to see from the HSBC website this week is that it looks like it's being decided it's a 12s format tournament. And while they follow the UAE specific law variations, the UAE has a youth league law variation, which is a very long list. I think I could ask producer Luke I think the list is over there, Luke, if you can get it. I think it's worthwhile to show people what our referees need to deal with when they are involved in youth rugby. Thank you, producer Luke. You know, just the UAE youth law variations is a document like this with different colors and yeah, it's interesting. I feel for our refs. They've got to deal with all this. But the UAE law variations for mini and youth rugby will apply with the following additions. All players in the team must play. No, that's something I'll get to. The additions are here. So each team will consist of 6 forwards and 6 backs. Each team will have 6 players in the scrum and a minimum of 2 in a line-out. All kicks are drop kicks. The number 8 cannot pick and go from the scrum, apologies. And the defending scrum half cannot go past the midline of the scrum for under 11s to under 14s. So you can go and bother everybody like you normally do. How many warnings have you had this season from refs?
I don't recall getting one. To be honest,
we always say amongst ourselves that the number 9s in this world, they don't choose to be number 9s. Number 9 chooses them before they're born. Because you guys are you're always the naughtiest, always the loudest, always in trouble with the ref, always bother the opposition the most. If ever there's a complaint, it's a complaint about a number 9's attitude.
I mean, did you not hear what we said earlier? I'm the most behaved number 9.
Yeah, that's why I was surprised that you wrote that. That's definitely...
The thing is, you wrote that down yourself. So.
Yes. So something while I wanted to mention this extensive document, other than the World Rugby rules, the UAE referees have this law variations that they must adhere to for mini and youth rugby. So, there's an interesting one I found here, gents. There's a rule here that says for UAE mini and youth law variations, everyone must play at least half a game, and that's for all age groups, all the way up to the column that says under 17 and up. So all the way up to and including under 16, there's a rule here that says all players must play a minimum of half a game.
I never knew that.
Never knew that. Interesting one. Again, if anybody out there is involved in setting these and you want to clarify anything around this, it's a very interesting one. I'm pretty sure that most clubs, all clubs, probably struggle with this one.
We'd love to get some answers on that.
Yeah, it's and how is this monitored and supposed to be? What's the protocol to manage this? I don't think it's possible, and I think, to be fair to some clubs, they might have players on the bench for a game and not use them because an hour later there's another team like a B team or an A team playing and they have duties there and they get their full half or maybe full match there. So very interesting one. This, I don't know how this is monitored, but one I picked up, very, very interesting. You have squad size limits here of 22 rolling subs, but then everyone must play a half. So out of interest, you guys have asked, and we've had a few people ask, what is the game time? It's in this document as well. So if you go to the HSBC website for the upcoming tournament, you'll find these law variations. Out of interest for you guys at under 16s, it's a maximum of 2 times 35-minute halves. So you could have a game up 70 minutes. I think most refs call it at around 30, but you could go up to 35. That's the maximum time according to the laws that's involved. So that leads me to our next segment, which is an interesting one, and it's one definitely that I think will be interesting for people to comment on. It's lessons from the laws, and it's things that we pick up during the week when we visit matches or engage with people that tell us about things they've observed, and we want to put these out there. Our philosophy, again, is the more we can learn, the more we can know, the more we will care, and the harder it will be for our referees to stop us from supporting them. So if there are any referees out there in the refereeing community, the invitation is open if you'd like to engage with us to help us understand any of these things. These are things that we've heard and seen happen in games over the last week. These are things that we don't have answers for. And these are things I think that rugby supporters in general will be interested in. It's not if these things will happen in a match where you are a spectator or you have a child or you're a coach of a team that's involved. It's not if it will happen, it will happen. It's happened already in the last week. So clarity on this will really be great, and we'll appreciate anyone in the refereeing community or coaching community or UAE official community that knows the answers or can help us steer us in the direction. Maybe we should get a ref on who's willing to just share the knowledge. We lack the knowledge here. So the first one, gents, uncontested scrums. Now, we're not interested in talking about which game during the week it happened. We're not here to name games and name people. This is stuff that happened, that it's done, and we want clarity. So uncontested scrums. There was a match in the week where a prop got injured, and it was pretty clear that there was no prop cover on the bench that could fill that position. The referee was then forced, obviously, to declare an uncontested scrums from there onwards, and this created some confusion inside of the field within the players, and these things have a habit of leading to toxic environments if people don't understand what's happening. And I'll remind people there was I think it was a Super Rugby game not long ago where referees spent, I think, nearly 15 minutes trying to figure out an uncontested scenario, and in the end, in reviews after the game was discovered, they still got it wrong. So this is not something that's easy. I went and looked at the rules from the IRB, the World Rugby rules, and they have even, I think there's 4 scenarios for uncontested scrums that refs need to memorize and know and then apply. So, from what we understand from this game in our own research, it looked like a team arrived at a match without proper cover for front row. Now, one of the questions we have, or one of the recommendations we have, is whether referees can make part of their pre-match checks where they actually speak to the front rows in both teams. You'll know this. The referees come and talk about what they'd like to see in the scrum, how they want to officiate it, which is great for the players. If a referee at that stage notices that, hey, I only have 2 props here, or I don't see a full complement, then at least before a game the referee knows and can speak to both coaches involved, and they can decide how they will implement the protocol. Because in the UAE mini and youth rugby law variations, this issue is not covered. So by default, I would assume then the referees have to officiate according to World Rugby rules, which is one of, as I said, there's a number of scenarios in the rule book. I believe scenario 1 was in play here, where a team did not have sufficient cover at prop, and therefore, if it goes to uncontested scrums, the injured prop leaving the field cannot be replaced and the team needs to go down to 14 players. In this case, the referee made the call on the day to allow him to be replaced, and it remained 15-15. Now, I mean, I guess some of the things there that goes through one's mind is it in the spirit of rugby to have a team with an injury go down to 14? You know, is it? But World Rugby's law book does not allow you to determine whether you want to change a rule based on the spirit of rugby, unfortunately. I would argue that if a team comes to a game without proper front row cover, that's against the spirit of rugby, because that's a huge safety risk you take. Sure. But what if the ref said, no, sorry, I want contested scrums, and then some untrained person had to go sit at prop because the team came without cover?
That's also really like unsafe if someone that did not train a prop, you know?
And it's also quite difficult in the UAE because there is a big shortage of front row.
Yeah.
Is that because we play so much sevens? I mean, that's difficult.
I think
sevens, perhaps, should we look after our props and make sure we have props coming through and developing?
I think that's 100% the reason, because everyone focuses on getting, you know, lean and fast and fit for
sevens, and it's a lovely game. We all love it.
Which is always good to be fast and fit, but also we need to have like scrumming happens very rarely in sevens, and just like people just need to understand that sevens is not everything, and you know,
we need more development in the 15s.
Correct. So moving on. So I'll request, if anybody knows what, we would love to get clarity on what are the protocols that referees in the UAE follow aligned with World Rugby when it comes to uncontested scrums. As I say, if you do go and read World Rugby rules, there's a bunch of scenarios. You know, some clarity on this would really help everybody around a match situation understand it. Second one that we picked up, and this is not an old one, right? We've all been subject to this. The roles of coaches and their responsibilities when they are during a match next to a field. So we had matches during the week where we've observed where coaches do not appear to understand that there's a dedicated coaches box next to the field. I don't know whether all the schools and clubs in the country have dedicated coaches box earmarked next to the field, but I think, you know, if you've coached a team, you know that's where you should stand. You don't need an area marked out. But so our question is, what are the rules around that? Where are coaches supposed to be during a match? We've had examples that we've observed in a numerous amount of matches where coaches are walking up and down the field, actually across the other coach's box. Some even entered the field. Coached players moved them around. Ended up behind the post at some point, having a lot to say about things. Then back past the opposition coach's box. Then sort of a minute in their own box. Then to the other side of the field. Then across the field. Can we get clarity once and for all? What's the expectations for coaches? Where should they be? What can they do? What can't they do? And if they overstep, what's the protocol? I think that's more of a, you know, if I'm a coach and I consistently, sorry Ryan, break the rules, but the protocol is that if you break the rules, you forfeit the game and you go home, guess what? I'm staying in my box, right? Doesn't matter what my name is and who else I coach. I stay in my box and I respect the fact that there's a rule and an expectation of me as a coach. So can we get clarity from our refereeing community on this? Sorry, what did you want to say?
I want to say that, like, in my opinion, I think it's fine for coaches to like to walk around the field. That's like, it's okay, you just want to reach the player, but going on the field maybe is a step too far.
Yeah, but where
to coach push players around, like that's
I can recommend to anybody who's with us in this where it's grey area. There's a wonderful interview Luke Pearce, the English referee, did last week, where he spoke about, what as a referee, his responsibility, it starts with him. He's the CEO of that match for 80 minutes. And he's got a team that's with him, his assistant refs. And then next in line are the coaches and the players, and then everybody around the match. And he was speaking about his responsibility, ensuring that he himself and everybody in his team and those lower down, so the coaches next to the players, that they adhere to the rules first and foremost. Because if they don't, if he allows anything outside of that to enter a sort of a grey 50-50 area, then he cannot blame anybody for copying and pasting the behavior. So if a referee, for example, if the rule and the protocol as coaches need to be in an area and cannot do certain things, and there's a consequence in the protocol for when they break it, if the referee allows them to do it and doesn't apply the consequence, then aligned to Luke Pearce's example, then if a toxic environment starts to become apparent around the field with spectators or players on the field or other coaches saying, hey, nobody's doing it, then you have to accept responsibility for that, because it starts with you. And the same goes, I've seen some examples where I think, and Luke Pearce actually mentioned this, he said, there were a couple of games where he went on the review and realized he wasn't treating necessarily the captains in the game with the right level of respect, and then some of the players started to misbehave, and he said, I have to put up my hand. I allowed it, so the behavior was copied. Yeah. And so we'd love clarity on what are the expectations of coaches, what's the rules around this and the consequences, and is this something that referees in this country actually discuss as we've got to stick to it and be consistent. Then ARs. When is someone an AR and when are they just a touch judge? And a recommendation we have is that we see referees being so well supported at the men's level through official ARs. Now, in our own research, an AR apparently is an official, that's official, a UAE official with the approved comms. If they don't have comms, they're just a touch judge and they can only show where the ball went out. Under some circumstances, they can pinpoint foul play. But that's our understanding. So we think, from what we see on the men's side of things every weekend,
they do have the...
they have the comms. In other words, they're ARs. You have two UAE officials. They have the comms. So the technology clearly is available. The personnel is clearly available. Can we not have that for our premier showpiece of school rugby, at least at under 19 A level, so that we give our referees the best possible chance to be the best on the day? I cannot see a referee that would say no to that.
Exactly, no referee.
Right? And so, but we don't know where this sits. Is this something the schools need to drive and say, we would like that? Is there a cost involved? Is this something that needs to come from UAE Rugby? We don't know where that sits. Again, if you can give us answers to this, provide clarity, it's a recommendation from our side. We think any referee would bite your hand if you offer them the chance to be the best they can be in. And it's our, when we look at under 19 school rugby, it's our premier school rugby in the country. We should treat them the same as the men's. They should have access to the best personnel and technology. And then the fourth one, which is an interesting one that came through to us after the last week's rugby, is someone allowed to walk onto the field with a recording they did on their phone during the match to interrogate the referee about why he didn't call offside in a particular situation in the match. This happens during the match. So the person walks onto the field, they stop play, they say, come here ref, I have a recording to show you that you've missed offsides 5 minutes ago. Is that allowed? What's the rules and the protocols around this? I think the common sense answer for all of us is that that's clearly not allowed. But in the example that was sent to us, it was allowed. The referee actually called timeout, entertained it, and there were no consequences. So what's the protocol around this? Is this normal? Is this the behavior that the rules allow, firstly? Because, again, to Luke Pearce's example, you're going to get a lot of copy and paste of this if it's allowed. And what's the protocol? What are the refs expected to do when this happens? And God forbid, we would request everybody out there, don't do this to referees. This is taking it way too far.
I mean, as a player, I don't think...
Yeah, as a player as well, it disrupts the game. It sort of slows everything down. You don't really want that as a player. But it's also like very unfair to the ref, because he's just trying to do his job, then someone calls him from the side of the field, makes him stop all play, and tells him that he did something wrong. That's not fair.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that situation as a ref. And when we say the values of World Rugby also includes passion, so we've all been there. We've all done things next to the field where you go home in reflection and say, oh, man, I didn't behave the way I should have.
And that's just passion taking over.
It's passion taking over, but then the other part of the value system with regards to respect, there's a line, and when you walk onto a field during play and interrogate the ref with video footage that you've taken on your phone. Yeah, as I say, we were not at these matches. This is something that came through reporting system to us to ask. So we're asking if you're involved in UAE officiating in an official capacity and you'd like to answer this, give clarity so people know what the rules are. That would be wonderful for everybody involved. So that brings me to our final piece of the week. As I said in the beginning, we asked players, coaches, fellow referees the following question. If you were selected to play for the UAE in a match tonight, and you arrive at the game and meet the ref, who would you be extremely happy to meet to say, thank God that's our ref for the match? And so we had the following. Neil du Plessis, mentioned for you. Neil is a new ref in the UAE. He's not new to refereeing, he's very experienced. He comes from the Sharks in Durban, South Africa. Very experienced ref. So good mention for you, Neil, in the early days in the UAE. Neil Horn, Matt Riley, and then the person who got the most mentions, who was a former grade 7s rugby player, Jaco de Wit. Well done, Jaco de Wit. You are, according to this, our most wanted referee at a game, for the good reasons. So well done, Jaco. A couple of mentions for younger refs. Any guesses?
JT.
Jack Taylor, fellow pupil at their school, up-and-coming ref. So we had a lot of young players who said, Jack Taylor. So Jack, I think we need to get Jack on the show and introduce him. And then anyone else you might know, a young boy?
I mean, one of my favourite people to play against, Jevan
Rademe, yes. A Tigers champion. And also, I think his dad is also a ref.
Yeah.
So good to see. And then somebody else, Braden Hudson, a young man who's making inroads in the Asian League. So he's apparently going to be an international ref pretty soon. Well, gents, that well done to our refs. We'd love to continue highlighting you, and we'd encourage you, any of these gentlemen, you're highly regarded by the looks of things. If you want to help us uncover those 4 questions we asked in our section around lessons from the laws, we'd appreciate your support and input so we can educate ourselves and those around us, so that we can support you better. So gents, that's a wrap for the episode this week. Thank you everyone for watching. Again, if you enjoyed the show, please like and share. If you want to reach us on email, please do so. On the boxkickrugby@gmail.com. Is that correct, Ron?
Yeah, it is.
And other than that, you can find us on Insta as well. And
if you have anything to kick off the next week, just make it a box kick.
What you said, guys? What you said?
Say that again. If you do anything this week, or if you need to kick anyone this week.
If you need to kick this week off.
Make sure it's a box kick.
Sure,
okay, well said. Well, I hope you enjoy a box kick. If you are going to box kick like a 9, right?
Yeah.
Can you box kick?
Yeah.
Someone should write that down.
Yeah.
Inspirational quote.
Put it on your wall, Ryan. Good one. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next week. Enjoy the rugby. See you at Jess on Friday and at the HSBC on Saturday and Sunday, where you can also see these 2 gents in action. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Every step we take is tic-tac-toe.
Ho!